Hey y'all, and welcome to Monner's Market, and welcome to Bloom with Grace. Today's theme is roses, and the creators can use any color rose they want to. My co-host today is Zana over at OK at Home DIY. So thank you, Zana, for co-hosting with me today. Now, these DIYs that you will see in here will be all jacked up because they are some of the first DIYs that I've ever done. But I had so many DIYs in roses, I didn't feel a need to go back and recreate more rose DIYs when 90% of these didn't get seen because my channel was so new and I had so few subscribers. So you will see that the filming is off whack and some of it's a hot mess. So just bear with me through what you're seeing and just listen, and hopefully I'll still give you some inspiration. Thanks for coming. There is a $100 giveaway in today's video. You'll hear more about that real soon. But for now, let's get into DIY number one. For my DIY number one, I'm making this little cafe sign for somebody. Now, I'm not real keen on the end result, but it was requested and I gave her what she wanted. And this, as you see, is where I really didn't know how to film back then. So just bear with a few different parts of this video where it's really tiny. So for this DIY right here, I use this white Waverly chalk paint and some ink. Now, the lady did not want this messed up, and I painted the bottom right there with pink ballet slippers by Waverly. I have no idea where the footage to that, me painting that pink, went. But literally, that's all you would have seen is me painting it pink. And then I went in with the white and painted the frame. Had it been mine, I would have stopped right there because it was absolutely gorgeous. That little facelift with the pink on the bottom and the white frame just made it pop, in my opinion, and I thought it was beautiful, but it wasn't mine. It wasn't my say-so. So I did what she asked me to, and I used some of the ink to, quote, distress it down and make it match her other things, which she decorates in black and pink. So it made sense to her. She loved it, but just kind of putting it out there that I would have left it just pink and white. So anyway, that's pretty much really all I did to this is I just took the white Waverly chalk paint, went around the frame, painted it. It has some really pretty roses on the front of the picture, and it has bloom in there. So I thought, you know what, that would be super cute for my Bloom with Grace video. Has roses and it's Bloom with Grace. So it was a perfect addition for me to go back into one of my old videos and add that. And again, like I said in the beginning, very few people saw this because my channel was so new and I had so few subscribers. But once I get through painting this, I wish I would have taken time to really show you what it looked like before I distressed it, because, oh my God, it was just so pretty. And like I said, the facelift was all it needed. But after I got that done, I went back in with some ink, and she wanted it heavily distressed, which broke my heart the whole time I did it. But I did it, and I heavily distressed it in the ink. So that's what I'm doing now. And once I distress it down, then I will be done, and I'll show you what it turned out like. Now, that picture right there came from the Dollar General, and it was normally $8, but on clearance for like $2 because the bottom of it had gotten wet and had a little bit of mold on it. But all I did is sanded it down and cleaned all that mold off and painted it with that real pretty ballet slippers. And that's all I did, other than paint the bottom pink, the top white, and then distressed it with this ink. That's all there was to it. I think it's just an adorable sign. Look how pretty those pink roses are on there. And it says, live life in full bloom. So even though the distressing is not something I would have done, let me know down in the comments below what you think about this first DIY. The sign itself is adorable. I'm just not a fan of that black on there. And I hope she's not watching because I don't want to hurt her feelings. But she loved it. I mean, she was ecstatic. Now let's get into DIY number 2. This DIY right here, I made just a couple of months after I got my channel. And I was so excited about this heart because I thought that was my idea alone. I thought I made this up all by myself. Come to find out, probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 days after I posted mine, I end up seeing 5 or 6 other people doing the same thing, not necessarily with these color roses, but with roses and this heart. And I was just heartbroken because I thought I made that up myself. But in fairness to us, we are DIY crafters that do a lot of Dollar Tree things. And Dollar Tree carries, for the most part, the same things. Now, I got those little fingertip thingies because that glue gun that my husband got me is screaming hot. It is dangerously hot. So I got those little fingertip things. But y'all, I am so claustrophobic, I couldn't even keep them on my fingertips. I can't even wear closed-in shoes, and that's no joke. So I put them on thinking I was going to protect my fingers and ended up taking them right back off because it's a good thing God let me be born and raised in Florida and I don't have to wear closed-in shoes because I can't stand them. When I was nursing and I had to wear my closed-in shoes, every time I went to break, as soon as I got in my car, as a matter of fact, on my way to work, I didn't even have them on. I didn't put them on until I got there and had to walk in. That's how bad I hate closed-in shoes. But anyway, getting back to this little DIY here, I had about 5 or 6 different colored roses, and I just did like an ombre pattern where I went from the lightest to the darkest and started, like you see me here, going from the bottom up. And all I did was go back in and put that little twine hanger back on it, and it turned out so cute. And those roses were actually very pretty together. And considering they came from the Dollar Tree, they didn't look bad at all. They were full. They weren't cheap or cheesy looking. And they just made the most beautiful, fluffy little rose wall hanging. I guess that's what I can call that. And I love the way it turned out. So again, that's where I was going to add some greenery in because I thought it would be pretty, and I was like, nah, I wasn't feeling it. So I didn't even add it in, but I just put the hanger back on and that was it. And look how cute that turned out. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's 5 different color roses on there. But isn't that pretty? Like, I love the way that turned out. It'd be like a perfect Valentine's DIY. And if I remember right, I might have actually done that for Valentine's Day last year. Anyway, let's get into DIY number 3. This one's going to take a little bit longer, but so worth the watch. Now, there are 5, and again, I lost stinking footage because this was over a year ago, but there are 5 planters that I got from the Dollar Tree, and they were brown, and they looked like little cut in half barrels, like a wine barrel. So I took 5 of them, glued them upside down on top of each other like you see, and then I took several rolls, I want to say it was like 8 or 9 of those rolls of the Nautical rope, and I just wrapped and wrapped and wrapped until I had the whole thing wrapped up. And this was part of a pink challenge that I did, so I want to do another one and leave it in that natural color because that is so pretty to me. But with this one, I took the same ballet slippers, the Waverly chalk paint, and I went in and I just really, really heavily dry brushed some pink on there because that was part of what I was doing at the time, or the collaboration that I was doing at the time is what I mean. So there's the ballet slippers by Waverly. Such a pretty pink. And if you're into pink colors, then, this is cute. And it turned out pretty. I don't know, I'm just not a pink kind of girl, even though I'm redoing my bedroom in pinks. slowly, really slowly. So it was a little bit too pink for me, so I did go back in with this Ivory chalk paint by Waverly and tried to tone it down some. And it did look a lot better for my eye to add some of that ivory in there and just tone some of that pink down. And then I took this big, humongous platter that you can get from the Dollar Tree for $1. So I've got $6 in this thing so far, other than the rope. So less than $15 for this table. And now that rope made this table super, super sturdy, very heavy. You wouldn't think that nautical rope would be that heavy, but it weighs, I don't know, a good probably, I don't want to say how many pounds, but trust me, it's made it sturdy enough that you don't have to worry about it tipping over. I was really worried about it tipping over, but it was not top heavy at all. So anyway, then I took these beautiful flower stickers, these roses that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and put them all over the top. I was going to use, I thought 7 or 8, and I actually ended up using 10. I think I had 12. And I just put them on there, and then I just went back around with my X-Acto knife and trimmed off what was left. And then I took Mod Podge and just really gave it a heavy coat of Mod Podge on the top. That was to seal it into that tray and give it a really good finish. You know what I mean? Like something sort of, well, I didn't have any polyacrylic at the time, actually, because I was sitting here thinking, why didn't I just use polyacrylic? But I remember now I was out of polyacrylic. So once I got that done, I took the open end of my table and I used some Gorilla Glue, which is like the E6000 stuff. Or is that E6000? I can't tell. And then some hot glue and put it on there. And then I did go back and paint the bottom of that because I had paint all over the black part. And I did go back in and make the paint match the bottom, but I don't think I recorded that. So once I got it glued on, that was it. And look at that table, y'all. How stinking cute is that? And being from Florida and living near the beach, you know, this nautical-ish stuff is always in season or whatever. And that's just some crap I threw on top of it. I didn't even know what I was doing back then, y'all. That's pathetic now that I look at it. But the table itself is the star and those beautiful roses on top of it. So let me know down in the comments below what you think about my table that I made. First piece of furniture I ever made by myself. Now let's get into DIY number 4. This little cafe sign I got from the Dollar Tree for $1. And my original thought was to tape off the plastic insert right there and use the little clip for my cardstock. So as you can see, I taped it all off and then I sanded it down because it had such a shiny finish. If I would have tried to paint it, the paint would not have adhered to it. So I went back in with some white Waverly chalk paint and I gave it two really good coats of paint. And once I started trying to take that tape off, honey, it was stuck like glue. I couldn't get that crap off for nothing in the world. And I was so frustrated. So I was going to try to cut that, excuse me, I was going to try to cut that plastic piece out the middle, and it ended up popping open, which was perfect because it snapped right back together. I didn't know I could snap it apart like that, but it made it so much easier all the way around. So then I took this beautiful two-sided cardstock that has roses on one side and these cute little stripes on the other, and I thought it was so adorable. I put it in there, and it was super thick cardstock. Then I got this little thing right here that's something I got from Hobby Lobby way back, I don't even know when, and glued it down on top of that, cut it out, and sanded the edges. And then I have a little wooden heart that I use the other side of that cardstock. So it's going to be like roses, stripes, roses. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. Or maybe stripes, roses, stripes, actually. I don't know. You'll see it in a minute how it turns out. But then I go around, shaved off the edges, and sanded them down to make them super smooth. And then I took my Mod Podge, and I don't even think I owned a glue gun back then, y'all. That's how old this thing is. And sanded it down, got it all prettied up, and then I started gluing it all together. And I took that little form, put it on top of, or I put the heart on top of that, and then I just glued that whole thing right to the middle of those real pretty roses in that cafe sign. That was it. And no, I think I did add a bow to it. I made like a little messy bow. Because back then and now, I am not your girl to go to for bow making. I can't do it. I even mess up messy bows. So that is how it turned out. I put a little half bead, just a natural half bead in the middle. And then I don't know why I did that, but I stuck a half natural bead on each side of the picture frame. I guess I thought it looked cute at the time. But anyway, oh my God, I've come so far, y'all. That's how that turned out. But look at those pretty pink roses. I love it. I think they're just adorable. Now we are about to get into my last DIY, but I just wanted to say that my secret word for today is roses. Don't highlight it. Don't put it in parentheses. Just use it in a sentence. My secret word is roses. Okay? So now let's get into my final DIY. I don't know why I put those little half beads on there. I guess I thought that was cute. Last DIY number 5, is this cute little tag sign. I love these stinking tag signs. I don't know what it is about them, but I cannot get enough of them. Got it from the Dollar Tree. Took the tag off, took the little hanger off, painted with white Waverly chalk paint. And I want to say it probably took 2 coats of that Waverly chalk paint to get it covered really good. And then I took the same cardstock. I'm trying to remember where I even got that cardstock. Probably Hobby Lobby, honestly. But I just don't remember. It was a whole set, and it is gorgeous. If I would have had the pack handy, I would have showed you the whole pack. But that was, like I said, a year ago, and I know I still have it because there's no way I used all that paper or all that cardstock. But where I could put my hands on it right now, because of all the craft crap that I've bought since then, no telling. So I kept cleaning up my chalkboard because I was going to leave it like that. And then I decided to add some of that cardstock onto it because it was just so pretty. And I had a big chunk left off of the piece I tore off to do my last DIY project, and I didn't want to throw it out. And look, there it is. I didn't realize I showed this. Look, guys, I want you to see how beautiful this is. Come on, tell me I flipped through it. Please tell me I flipped through it. No, I didn't flip through it. Dadgummit. Anyway, hopefully you got a little glimpse of it. So I took my fingernail, went around the edge, and see where it kind of gave me like my little area to cut. So I did it again and just pushed it down on the corners because I needed to go back in and trim up those corners and round them off. And that's just the easiest way to do it for me. So I went in, rounded them off, and added some Mod Podge, put it down, and then I took and made another messy bow identical to the one that you just saw me do on my cafe sign, so that the two matched, obviously, and added that to the top. And then I took some wooden letters from Hobby Lobby, and I put the word love on that. This must have been some kind of Valentine's thing that I was doing, because if it were up to me, I would not have put the word love on there. So I'm thinking it had to be part of something Valentine's-y. So anyway, I just left them natural and bare, put some Mod Podge on the back, and put these, I love these letters. They're kind of cursive-y looking, and just put love on there. And that's all there was to it after I put my little messy bow on it. And I did, I think I added some natural beads to the top of the hanger instead of just having a twine hanger. And I did add this little burlap around, like I wrapped it around, you'll see right here, I wrap it around that tag sign, and then I put a messy bow on top of it, which really almost hid it, honestly. But isn't that pretty? I love the burlap. And pink and brown to me, ever since I was really young, I love those colors together. Like I used to dress at one point in high school, everything I had was pink and brown. I loved pink and brown together. And I still, to me, it's just such a pretty combination. But let me get back onto this DIY here. So this is me just kind of going through and making another messy bow. Actually, now that I look at it, what I did was cut everything for both bows at one time, and then I cut this in half. I think what you'll see me do is tie this together, thinking that I was going to have one bow, and when I put it on there, it was like way too big, ginormously too big. So I do end up cutting it in half and using half of it for my cafe sign and the other half for this tag. Yeah, that's it. I was like, what am I doing here? So I just took that little piece of twine off, cut it in half, and saved myself some time from making two bows. It worked out perfect, and that is what we call a happy accident. So messy bows are so easy to make, and I really like them. I think they're just adorable, but I want to learn how to make a stinking bow. I had a really good friend that owns a beautiful little shop here in town where you can like take stuff that you've made. They have the most beautiful stuff in that store. You know what I need to do? I need to do a video up there in that store. Anyway, squirrel, I need to get back on this video. She gave me a bow maker, and I've never pulled it out to try to use it. But anyway, once I added this little messy bow that you could see me on the struggle bus with, I took a few natural beads, strung them on some twine. Could have been the twine I took off of it originally. Could have been new twine. I honestly don't remember. And, I thought I had them natural. No, I didn't. I painted them pink. Well, look at yonder. My memory is horrible. So I painted them with that real pretty ballet slippers. And then I strung them on some twine. Now, see, I don't even remember painting them pink at all. But anyway, I just surprised myself. But yeah, I like the fact that I painted them pink, because it does give it a little pop of color, don't it? So anyway, that is all there was to making this. That is all the DIYs I have for you today. Don't forget to put your secret word down below in a sentence. Please don't just put that word, and please don't highlight it with quotation marks or anything like that, because people that want to cheat and not watch the whole video look for the same word over and over and over. So try to disguise it somewhere in a sentence, and be sure that you have the secret word in there, and you will be entered. The deadline is the 22nd, so good luck. Thank you for coming to Monter's Market. Be sure to go to the playlist and show everybody some love. Everybody's going to have their own either question or word, and you must answer everybody's to be entered for the contest. So, thank you for coming to Monter's Market. Thank you for watching. Have a very Merry Christmas. Bye now.